Good afternoon. My name is Ces Butner, and I have the honor to serve as this year's president of Rotary Club of Oakland. Founded in 1908, the Rotary Club of Oakland is the third oldest Rotary Club of some 35,000 Rotary clubs throughout the world. We are a community of 300 men and women from all walks of Oakland civic and commercial and community life, committed to the Rotary motto of service above self. I'd like to welcome you to our 5,335th club meeting. For over 111 years, we have welcomed Rotarians and guests from around the world to our club meetings. We continue to do so virtually, so if you're a visiting Rotarian or if you're a guest of a Rotarian, please let us know by typing your name and the name of your club into the chat box located at the center bottom of the screen, as indicated by the red arrow on the slide you're viewing now. By doing so, we will be able to recognize you later in this meeting. Also, we recommend that all participants view this Zoom meeting by clicking the speaker view button located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And if you have comments throughout the meeting or questions for the speaker, please use the chat button at the bottom of the screen for that as well. And now, for our thought for the day, Rotarian Ruth Stroup.
Thanks, Ces, and President Ces, and hello, Rotarians. Today, the thought of the day, I thought I would share some quotes about children and education, since that's the theme of our presentation today. So Gandhi tells us, if we want to reach real peace in this world, we should start educating children. And Nelson Mandela tells us, without education, your children can never really meet the challenges they face. So it is vital to educate children and explain that they should play a role in their country. And Oprah Winfrey tells us that education is the key to unlocking the world, a passport to freedom. I look so forward to hearing today's message about educating our children in Oakland. Thanks, President Ces.
Very, very good. Thank you, Ruth, for setting the tone for the meeting with that thought for the day. Because we want to remain grounded and focused, we begin our meetings by jointly reciting our vision, which is, together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Hope you enjoyed last week's meeting, where we had the Oakland Community Rotaract take over and run the meeting as our Rotaract team introduced themselves, did the thought for the day, and secured and presented our speaker, tagger turned artist, Tim Horn. It was a great demonstration of how our Rotaractors, with direction and encouragement from Winter Williams and the Rotaract Committee, are making a difference in Oakland. This week, we will have another one of our Oakland Rotary Endowment showcases. Community Service, I think, committee will be featured this week to encourage you all to make your contribution to this year's campaign. And additionally, as we come closer to reopening, we have a great speaker to better inform us on our youth, particularly disadvantaged homeless youth, how they will cope with returning to school in this environment that we have now. So sit back and enjoy another in our great Civic Thursday meetings, where you can catch a great speaker, get involved in Rotary, where service above self exists. Past District Governor Ed Jellen, do we have any visiting Rotarians or guests?
Indeed we do, President Ces, excuse me. First, we're happy to welcome back Dianne Dorn, past president of the Rotary Club of San Leandro. Nice to have you with us today, Dianne. We also have some terrific guests. Let's see who's out there. Sandeepa Nayak brought guests with her today. We've got Steve Heike, who's owner of Molly Maids in Solano County. We have with us Dagmar Serota, who is the executive director of the Friends of the Oakland School Libraries. I think she might be interested in part of our program today. And then Kathy Dwyer brought with her the McKinney-Vento interns from Cal State East Bay. So it looks like we have a good crew of visitors here with us today, President Ces, and welcome to you all.
Thank you, Ed, and welcome to all our guests. Rotarian Debo Sakar, I believe you have an announcement for us. And Debo, I apologize right now. On the agenda, I had your last name misspelled, S-H-S-A-K-A-R. Debo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I always say that my name is a four-letter word, so choose whatever works for you. The speaker series of the Business Development Committee will have its next event on Thursday, the May 20th. The 5 to 6:30 p.m. Zoom event will feature a fantastic speaker who will talk about inflation. Massive relief efforts are being undertaken by the federal government, the American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure Plan, and others. People, at least in certain quarters, are worried about what the effect of these relief efforts may be, and that worry has brought inflation back to the news. Lots of discussions and warnings are taking place about the potential inflationary pressures of these efforts. What will the effects be on the stock market, on the economy, on individual investment or portfolio or retirement portfolio? If you have any such questions or concerns, you should plan on attending the event. The event is free to all members. It's an evening event. It's not a free dinner, but what else you have to do on a Thursday evening? It's a little nerdy economist joke there. If you want to bring any guests, it will be free for them as well. By now, you must be wondering about this fantastic featured speaker at this event. And the speaker is, drum roll.
Drum roll. Put up the picture, Sandeepa.
Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Yours truly, c'est moi. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Debo. I appreciate the announcement from the Business Development Committee. Sounds like a good meeting to have. Kinder Prep Chair John Holmgren, I understand you have an announcement about some of your committee's fine work.
Absolutely. Thank you, President Ces. I announced last week when I was doing a summary of our Kinder Prep Committee activities this year that one of our recent grants was to the organization Friends of Public School Libraries, or FOPSL. And I'm pleased today to have in our meeting Dagmar Serota, who is going to give us a summary of what the virtual library program is all about and what we're supporting. So Dagmar, can you join us now?
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Great, it's great to see so many people that I recognize from my time as an Oakland Rotary member. We cannot thank Oakland Rotary enough for the generous support for the OUSD Digital Library, as the project is called. It's a partnership between FOPSL, my organization, Friends of the Oakland Public School Libraries, and Oakland Unified School District. We started the project, the OUSD Digital Library, in response to the pandemic when a lot of the schools, all the schools closed, and students didn't have any access to online books because OUSD didn't own a collection of online books. So all the students access their books through an app called Sora. It's an app that was designed for schools by overdrive.com, which is the biggest distributor of online books. And Rotary, through its Kinder Prep gift, has made a gift to benefit the OUSD's youngest students, their TK students. And I'm happy to tell you that OUSD has made the digital library that you have helped fund an important element and is rooted in Reading Early Literacy campaign, and in fact featured the digital library in its reading challenge to all students TK through 5 in March. So your gift will provide critical resources to purchase books to benefit TK students, teachers, and their families. And I'm pleased to say that work has already begun because of your gift in connecting OUSD's librarians who will be curating the collection and the TK staff to understand the critical needs for TK students, teachers, and their families. But the impact of the digital library goes way beyond the pandemic. It's probably the best project I've ever worked on in my nonprofit career, because so many students in Oakland live in poverty, do not have books in their home, do not have access to enrichment during the summer or when schools are closed. And 50% of OUSD campuses don't even have a school library. And the ones that do, the libraries aren't open every day. So the gift that you've given will benefit those TK students whenever school is closed, whenever during the summer when they can't access books. And in fact, the digital library provides access to every single OUSD student. So it's a tremendous gift that you've given. The TK program will have an incredible benefit with books that kids can read along with, or their parents can read to them, and the teachers can use in their classrooms. So we can't thank you enough. Friends of the Oakland Public School Libraries is a small organization. It's a big project for us, and to have Oakland Rotary come in and support us so generously is just a wonderful thing. And so we thank you. And I know the district thanks you, and the TK students in particular.
Great. Thank you, Dagmar. That's fantastic. That reinforces everything I think our members need to know about the great work that we do. So thank you so much for being here today and for the work that you do.
We appreciate Rotary. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. That's another example of how our work in the community is making a difference in the lives of our youth. Last week, Kinderprep gave us the case for the ORE campaign, the Oakland Rotary Endowment Campaign. This week, we have Community Service Committee Chair David Kittner giving the case for giving to ORE campaign. David.
Thank you very much, President Ces. And let me get this set up. Okay, so yes, thank you, President Ces. I'm David Kittner. I'm the current chair of the Community Service Committee. And this is the Oakland Rotary Endowment Month. And we are raising money for organizations in our local community. Whoops, okay, this did not work. I am so sorry. Hit play, okay, there we go. And so you saw this last week where in the last 5 years, we've given $1 million in 50 grants. And what I wanted to do is spend a little time going over a few of those grants so you have some idea of what we're doing in the community, and hopefully that will encourage you to make a donation so we can continue to do this good work. So community service supports nonprofits that provide direct services to improve the quality of life in the Oakland community. So just this year, we made a grant to City Slicker Farms. City Slicker Farms provides and sets up little farmettes in urban areas. And their truck, if you see on the left, is what their truck looked like. And we gave them a grant so that they could put a bed on the back of their truck to allow them to do the services that they provide. We gave a grant to BOSS. BOSS is building opportunities for self-sufficiency. And they mainly are one of the main clients that they deal with are recently people released from incarceration. And this van allows them to take people to job interviews, social service appointments, and moving them into apartments. The Adams Point neighborhood was able to beautify another trash can. Trash can on the left is what you normally see, and they were able to put tile on a trash can. Not only does it look good, it cuts down on graffiti. We were able to make, and there's two organizations that are like legal assistance for seniors. These are organizations that help disadvantaged groups take advantage of government programs that are available. But if you do not have the internet, if you are homeless, or if you have other disabilities, accessing those programs can be very difficult. So for the legal assistance of seniors, they work primarily in healthcare. We help them get data entry pads so that they can go to seniors' homes to be able to help them get these benefits, which helps our community tremendously. Feather River Camp, they run a camp and which many Oakland students go to, And they have a veranda where all the students normally meet. The veranda on the left is what it looked like, and this beautiful veranda on the right when the project was completed. Allendale Elementary School, we gave funds for them to purchase non-fiction life science books. And one of the interesting things is there are more parents who have library cards at the school than there are children there. St. Vincent Day School helps disadvantaged preschool kids, and we provided funds for the materials to build this deck for their pre-kindergarten children on their site. Ace Kids Golf helps disadvantaged youth with life and teaching them golf. Sometimes they come together, and we were able to help them get golf clubs and virtual reality goggles. Gritty City Repertory Theater had to move, and we provided the funding for their studio space to purchase the hardwood flooring that you see in that picture in their new studio. And the veterans community is the other group that is connecting veterans with the benefits that are out there available to them. And they primarily do this through, excuse me, town halls, and we help them get video equipment so that they can improve their town hall performances. So President Ces has put forth a $50,000 matching challenge. And I would encourage you to please make a donation. You can donate by check, credit card, or go on our website so that we can continue to do all these wonderful programs in our local community. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for that. So if you haven't yet to give to the ORE campaign, make your pledge today. A big part of the reason for my matching pledge is to encourage all members to give to ORE this year. I love to have 100% participation by all Rotarians. So make your pledge today. Now to remind us of the culmination of our campaign this year, we're going to have a gala event. Rotarian Kathleen Sims, you want to update us on the gala event?
Well, hi there, everyone. Last week, I'm not sure who was here or who wasn't. I promised more details about our exciting plans for the 2021 Gala. I'm really jazzed about it. So on Saturday, May 22nd, we're bringing the fun, games, and glamour of Las Vegas to you in the comfort and safety of your own home with our Casino Night Gala. Heather and Valentina of Curated Entertainment, a San Francisco entertainment company, there's a picture of the two, will co-host our event. They will provide entertainment for Las Vegas live show. Save the date for our fun annual fundraising gala, complete with charming hosts, magical entertainment, casino games, enticing auction items, mixology, and more. And next week, I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going to be in the other rooms. Tickets for purchase will be available soon on the website. And during April, we are looking for unique, fun, or interesting auction item donations to help raise money for our worthwhile support of the different programs David just ran through. If you have any questions, please give me a call at 510-470-0932. You can always reach me through Club Runner or Jesse. Thanks so much. I'll see you in May.
Thank you, Kathleen. We're getting excited about that event. And that kind of made us think, we just met last night with the AV committee to review the technology to do our live hybrid meetings. And it occurred to me, we should discuss how comfortable all of you, the membership, will be returning to in-person meetings. With the governor announcing that we will be fully open June 15th, yours truly announcing that we will produce a meeting from the California Ballroom in May and attempt a live in-person meeting in June. So as we go to breakout rooms, I pose this question. How many of you are comfortable returning to in-person meetings in June? And if not in June, when? When we come back from the breakout rooms, you can put it in chat or text me or Jesse or email me, Jesse, and we'll get a better idea about how comfortable everybody feels. Take us to breakout room, Sandeepa.
Breakout rooms are now open. Everybody please join. Hi, Ralph. We can stay right here and talk to each other. How are you doing today? Are you able to hear me? You can unmute yourself. Hi, Sean.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yesterday we went to the ballroom and we tried to figure out how we can accommodate people, who want to meet in person.
What's the plan? Or is there one yet?
So the plan, the initial plan is for all of us to go and do a mock meeting. Some people will stay on Zoom, some people will go in person and so on. And we set up the whole thing and we figure out, how we communicate with both Zoom and in-person people. So we purchased some really good equipment and lighting and stuff like that. So hopefully it should work out really well.
And the plan is to do that in June?
Hopefully sooner than June. The mock meeting is sooner than June. But the idea is if we can go live maybe in May and June, that would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah, so it will be a part meeting, meaning people who want to come to the club can, and people who want to stay online can. So it's going to be a hybrid scenario.
Very good.
Yeah.
Are we having a speaker today?
Yes, we do. Trish Anderson is the speaker today, and she's already here.
Aha. Okay. So I must have joined right in the middle of a breakout room.
Yes.
Aha. Okay. Yeah, I just got on.
That's perfectly fine. We record all the meetings.
Good.
And I will send you the link to the recording. Hi, Ralph. How are you doing?
Sandeepa, I am doing very well. I was aware of the upcoming hybrid meetings.
Oh, perfect.
So I hear it's the old timers that are pushing for this. That's because they're all COVID shot.
Yes.
Right? So, all right, we've got our shots. Let's not worry about the young guys.
Yeah. How are you doing, Philip? Phil.
Hi, Sandeepa. Hi, Ralph.
Hello, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
So everybody is in their breakout rooms, and what they're discussing is, we are all thinking about going hybrid. And we already met yesterday to check out the equipment. We need more equipment, and hopefully all that will come together. And we'll have a mock meeting maybe somewhere in May. And then once the meeting is successful, then we'll open it up for having a hybrid meeting. So that's the idea. What do you think about the idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think that we can start to think about meeting up and being careful with masks, and enough people are now being vaccinated, and it'd be a really interesting experiment to see how the hybrid part of it works. That's a good challenge for you guys on the audio visual team.
So since we are a few people over here on video, Ralph, I wanted to ask you, did you know Phil just went to Africa and came back?
Who went to Africa?
Yeah, he
Bill,
does.
you just got back from Africa?
I just
Yeah,
got back from Tanzania. Sandeepa's my
Wow.
biggest champion. She
Yeah.
always says, I just got back
He
from
does
Tanzania.
all these safari tours, and he took a big group to Africa. Tell us more about it.
It was a small group, actually. It was four guests, and I was their kind of private guide. And we went to northern Tanzania to see the Great Migration at the wildebeest calving time. It was fantastic.
Even during COVID.
Sorry?
I'm just surprised that you did it during the COVID situation.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We've been postponing these trips for about a year. And now we are actually allowed in country. We ended up, what we had to do is we had to get a 72-hour negative PCR test, which was within 72 hours of arriving. We also had to have a rapid test. So we had to have both of those to go and both of those to come back. And when we're there, we're in the Serengeti National Park with literally no one around us. So it's probably, I mean, social distance. Safari has been social distancing for years. So it just worked, and it was safe, and we were probably safer there than we would have been going to Safeway on a Friday.
Well, I would never go to a Safeway on a Friday, but okay. Welcome back, and
Okay.
it was good.
Here we come. The people are starting to come back now. We got them.
Yes, you need to unmute.
Yeah, I got it. I am muted.
So, Ces, you're actually going to have some in-person meetings during your presidency?
Maybe one or two in June.
Oh, my goodness.
So we might have an opportunity to do it. We wanted to see what everybody thinks. But anyway, put your notes in. Put your notes.
What about your demotion?
And well, I think we can have the demotion there in person. But I think Dudley wants me to hold off so that he can be the first one with a live meeting. We can have a personal one with him. All right, Rotarian Kathy Dyer, will you do us the honor of introducing this week's Civic Thursday speaker?
I'd be pleased to, President Ces. So as we've heard today, that our club has always been centered around activities in support of children and youth. And today's speaker has spent much of her career doing the same. So Trish and I have been working together for about the past 18 months, providing respite housing for families experiencing housing insecurity, but that's only a small fraction of what Trish actually does every day. She currently is the specialist for Oakland Unified School District's McKinney-Vento program, housed within the Community Schools Behavioral Health Unit. Prior to her position with OUSD, Trish held all but one administrative support position for the County Office of Education. During her time there, she served as the assistant to the core learning team and is responsible for supporting the literacy team, coordinating the regional ERWC training events, the core coaching network, and organizing the county spelling bee. She also supported Team California for Healthy After Schools, a pilot project which focused on bringing physical education and nutrition in the form of healthy snacks and supper to the after-school programs across California. She serves as the county's homeless education liaison for over 5 years. Trish has served in the community as a project administrator and medical case manager in the area of infant mortality and morbidity. She's a certified grief counselor and trained Stephen minister. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, a certificate in medical coding and billing, and is a graduate of the Executive Leadership Institute for the National Forum of Black Public Administrators, and most recently received her master's degree in Christian education. So I'm proud to introduce to you today, Trish Anderson.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here with you today. And Sandeepa, if you want to start sharing. Thank you. So I am the McKinney-Vento liaison for Oakland Unified School District. Next slide. So today, our goal and our outcome is for you to understand the law and the role of the liaison, myself, to understand student eligibility and enrollment into the program, to provide you with a list of entitlements and services we offer, and what we provide in terms of housing supports and resources, and we'll have some time for question and answers. Next slide. McKinney-Vento is a federal law. It was originally passed in 1987, and it was reauthorized in 2015 by the Every Student Succeeds Act. So what's different about the reauthorization is that it removed foster youth services for students or foster youth awaiting placement. They were originally a part of the act. They were removed, and replacing them are our 0 to 3-year-olds. We call them stroller siblings. So now the act covers children between the ages of 0 and 4, before preschool and or kindergarten, and remove the foster youth that were awaiting placement. It is funded by Title I, Part A, and it provides stability, access, and support for education. Next slide. Next slide, please. Unaccompanied within the, oh, I'm sorry, go back, Sandeepa. Within the definition of McKinney-Vento is a population of youth called unaccompanied homeless youth. And so unaccompanied homeless youth are defined as children or youth who are not in the custody of their parent or guardian. Next slide. So we define housing insecurity. We try to stay away from the H word, homeless. So we refer to it as being housing insecure or unhoused. And so we ask the question, can a student go to the same place, fixed, every night, regular, to sleep in a safe and sufficient space? Adequate. Next slide. Adequacy has to do with running water, and if you're living in an RV, do you have electricity? So a lot of our students are considered doubled up. That means it's a family living with another family. During COVID, we saw as many as 3 to 4 families living in a single dwelling, which would make them eligible under McKinney-Vento. There has been a discrepancy between McKinney-Vento and HUD. The HUD definition does not allow for families who are doubled and tripled up. It only allows for families who are living in cars, emergency shelters, transitional housing. Under McKinney-Vento, we cover the doubled up, living in cars, motels, hotels, emergency and transitional sharing, transitional shelters, and sharing housing with another person due to a loss of housing or sleeping on the street. Next slide. So under McKinney-Vento, students who find themselves unhoused or housing insecure have the right to be immediately enrolled in school. And if they're currently enrolled and have been identified as unhoused, they have the right to maintain their school of origin, the school where they lost permanent housing. And so my role as the liaison is to make sure that students are not being asked to leave their schools, and also that once upon being identified, they have a right to enroll in school. And immediate enrollment is anywhere between 24 and 48 hours. Next slide. Next slide. So the McKinney-Vento team is a team of 3. There's myself, there's Raven, who does enrollment, and then there's Lucia, we call her Scarlett. She does family housing advocate. So her job is to find housing. Raven's job is to get the kids enrolled in school. And if there needs to be any kind of school movement or transfers, Raven takes care of that. And if you hear some banging in the background, I'm in the office and the pipes are going crazy. So there's 3 of us. We will lose Scarlett or Lucia May 28th. She's funded via a grant, and that grant will sunset on May 28th. So my job as the liaison is to make sure that they're enrolled, to make sure that they have every opportunity for education and everything they need to succeed in school, just like any other child. Sometimes people ask me, can't you pull them out and put them in their own classroom? No, we cannot, because of confidentiality. We cannot identify all homeless kids, separate them out, and then educate them. They have to be educated just like any other child will be educated. So in terms of determination of some standard living conditions, sometimes we go out and we have to, if it's RV, we want to make sure there's electricity, like I mentioned before, or running water. If that's not the case, then we have to find other places to house these families. We've had issues where families or kids, their room was literally under a dining room table. When you start talking about 2 and 3 families doubled and tripled up, there's just no way that that space, a single home dwelling, is adequate for a family of 3. And so my job is to make those determinations. Next slide. Next slide. So our process and how McKinney-Vento works. There are so many students in McKinney-Vento. At last count, at the end of last year, we had an overall enrollment of 1,031 students. So of that 1,031 students, we came up with a process by which to provide services, and we landed on a 3-tiered approach. So tier 1 is housed. Why does housed families continue to remain on our radar? Because some of these families are receiving housing for the first time. They've never paid rent before. They've never had their own place. So we have generations of families with 3 generations of homelessness. So if someone gets housed, then we need to support them for the entire school year. We don't want to just let them go. We continue to support them. Tier 2 is our biggest tier. And at last count, we had 912 students doubled up or tripled up with other families. And tier 3 is our top tier. Those are families that are coming to us from encampments or remain in encampments, cars, shelters. They're pregnant, parenting multiple kids, more often than not, more than 4 children. They're medically fragile. And we give them the priority. So in terms of priority, what we want to do is we want to create a targeted strategy for those families to make sure they get what they need. So for the most part, McKinney-Vento is addressing education. We are not required to address housing, but thanks to Kathy and volunteers who come online to support us, come alongside, we find that if we're able to house or better house these students, then they'll do better in school. So there's no way we can talk about educating a kid without talking about housing that same child. So McKinney-Vento entitlements include transportation. We provide bus tickets if a student and their family at elementary school age is traveling more than 1 mile to school. We have to provide backpacks and school supplies. We also have to provide shoes and clothing. We offer tutoring, and due to a grant that we received from the state of California, we're able to, for the first time, provide parenting support workshops. We provide gift card incentives for our students who are doing really, really well. We have to look at chronic absenteeism because it is an issue. And so we created attendance incentives. And due to Kathy's efforts to find us private dollars, we're able to provide hotel and motel stays, case by case, with our most pressing or most emergent families in need through our Guardian Angels grant. So under COVID-19, we were able to refer families to Operation Room Key. We had COVID relief funding in the amount of $400 for any family affected by COVID. We moved to an online process for prioritizing our referrals and links to our housing resource guide. And we connected with Oakland Undivided to deliver both technology and food to our families most in need. Next slide. Next slide. And that concludes my presentation. I just want to give you some data points. So at the end of last year, we had 33 children in shelter, 19 children in hotel motel. We had 912 children doubled up, and 64 children remain unsheltered. Our graduation rate, I'm proud to announce, is up to 73%, and 104 of 143 students successfully graduated last year. And now I'm open to taking questions.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a question from Lorna. How do families of children who qualify find out about these resources?
So once a family appears, presents at the enrollment center, and they don't have the proper documentation to provide proof of address, or they don't have an address, we're centrally located at the Lakeview School, and they just walk across the parking lot to my office, and then we help them complete the school enrollment and provide them with all of the materials they need. During COVID, that changed. Once a family was identified online through enrollment, I was called, or I received a call or an email, and then I made arrangements to meet that family in the community someplace to deliver whatever whatever they needed. And we also had teachers who were in the class online with the students, identifying students who were housing insecure, and they also reached out. So it was a two-way referral system from the classroom itself, online, and also from our online enrollment center.
Thank you. Stephanie Kazenza's question is, would Oakland or Alameda County consider creating a model such as the Monarch School in San Diego County?
Oh, I'm not familiar with the Monarch School, but there is another model that I like and that we've been talking about, and that is the school Hacienda de la Fuega in San Diego. So yes, we're actually looking at models for providing services to homeless students, and that came up at our last board meeting. So we're looking into it, yes.
Okay, thank you. David Stein is asking, how do you select the specific school that a student attends? How many students move between different schools during the course of a school year?
So we try to stabilize them. Hi, David. Nice to hear your question. I know David Stein. I think that's the same David. So we try to stabilize the students, and we try not to have them move. We've created what's called community schools. And so the community schools managers kind of help me. They're my arms and my legs and on site at the schools. So we try to place these students in a community school where there's a community schools manager who could provide the supports on site. So we try to keep them in those schools. How we determine which schools they attend. If they're doubled up, of course we use the person they're doubled up with, we use their address. Now, if they do not have an address, since Oakland enrollment is based on availability, a lot of times there isn't much of a choice. So we try to look at, first and foremost, what school were they attending when they lost housing? That's the school we want to keep them in. If they're going to be living at a farther distance than 1 mile from that school, and it's in the best interest of the family to use another address. If they're homeless in a car, we ask them where they park their car. If they're a member of a church, we ask them where they go to church. We'll use those addresses to secure a school space for that student. Does that answer the question?
Thank you. So Greg Knight's question is, so much schoolwork is done online these days. Are there access points for these students to be able to connect? And does OUSD provide them with a chat?
In terms of access points to connect, OUSD launched learning hubs this year. Not very many to start, but a few. And so McKinney-Vento students were prioritized for attending these hubs. In the last few months, a few more schools came online with their own learning hubs at the school sites. And again, our students were prioritized for attending these hubs. Outside the learning hubs, there haven't been very many ways for these students to connect. We have to remember that the idea is that they would receive the same access that any other student would receive. So we can't pull them out. We can't share their identification because there are laws around confidentiality. So we have to be very careful when we start marketing ideas about how to educate them or how to bring them together. And then remember, we're still dealing with the pandemic. Oh, what is a learning hub? I just saw that question. So a learning hub is a place where 10 students can meet, maintain social distance together in a space and go online to complete or engage in distance learning.
Sess, you're muted.
Do we have any other questions, Susie? Nope. Hearing none.
Yes, Stephanie had followed up by pointing out that monarchschools.org, that the San Diego Rotary helped to create the nonprofit that evolved into the school.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish, for being our speaker today. This year, our club is making the homeless crisis in Oakland a priority. To that end, as our gift to you for being our speaker for the day, in your honor, we are making a donation to support our unhoused residents in Oakland. Additionally, we would like to give you our Centennial book, which documents 100 years of service and friendship in the third oldest club in the Rotary world. Again, thank you, Trish, for being our speaker for today. Past President and Speakers Committee Chair, David Stein, will you tell us about our speaker for our next Civic Thursday meeting?
President Ces and fellow Rotarians, let me put in a plug for next week, but I'm also going to mention quickly the week after, just as a reminder, because our next 2 weeks both have a little bit of a different schedule. Next week, Civic Thursday will be on Wednesday, usual time of day, but on Wednesday, not Thursday. And our speaker will be the former National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster. Served in the military and the Army for many years, including in Afghanistan and Iraq, before becoming the National Security Advisor. He is now a professor at Stanford University. He also has a PhD in American history. So if you have questions about U.S. foreign policy, what we're doing, what we should be doing, we have a phenomenal speaker, again, next Wednesday, April 14, for Civic Thursday. And just a quick note that the following week will be a Civic Thursday, but it'll be a 9 a.m. start with Shikhar Mehta, who is the incoming president of Rotary International. So 2 fabulous programs coming up right here at Oakland Rotary.
Great, thank you for that. Thank you. Civic Thursday on Wednesday next week. Civic Thursday on Wednesday. And then the following week, early morning shift for Civic Thursday that we'll have to do because the international incoming president of Rotary International will be our guest, one of our guests. Also, we'll be doing that meeting in conjunction with the first 5 clubs of Rotary. That is Chicago, number 1. Number 2 was San Francisco. 3 is us, Oakland. 4 is Seattle, and 5 is LA. The first 5 Rotary clubs in the world. Thank you. I wanted to mention the, you had in your chat, you're talking about, and we did in the breakout rooms, we're talking about coming back for live meetings. I see one thing in chat where past President Peter is suggesting that we might be putting the cart before the horse, that it's political, and getting the getting meetings back. But that's what I was trying to find out, whether or not we're comfortable with having the meetings or not. If you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable with having in-person meetings. But that's the real question that we're dealing with, and we're just getting prepared for those meetings. We're not going to force anybody to come for that. So that's the one reason why we're suggesting that we wanted to do the hybrid approach that President-elect Dudley is talking about. Might be a little bit more tricky for us, but we'll get it done one way or the other. Did anybody have any other comments concerning the in-person meetings coming up? We can unmute somebody. Unmute yourself if you got any comments on that.
President Ces, if I may, we'll leave we have some time. I'll leave the meeting open for about 10 minutes after we're done if people just want to stay and talk for a while.
All right, that's very good. Did we have any questions on the in-person meetings? Because I did want to get a feel for what people are thinking about in-person meetings.
Will we limit the number of people, I'm assuming?
We may have to do that as well. I see a lot of people putting in chat where they said 3 out of 3, 5 out of 5 of people in their little breakout room was for it. So I sense there is a lot of enthusiasm for it, but there's a caution that I put in at the first, which is what past President Peter was suggesting, that we look out and be cautious about the variants and the spread of this.
President says there was a very important question from Leanne Alameda.
Okay.
Leanne, ask your question.
There was a question in our group about food and whether food could be served or if there'd be issues around that.
Yeah, well, we're planning on it being box lunches as opposed to buffet style. And we would have whoever's coming to the meeting, they would put in their choice or what have you, and we'd have their box lunch there ready for them when they came to the meeting. That's the way we're thinking that we wanted to handle that.
President Ces, can we have hybrid meetings?
Well, we're trying. Well, we think we will be able to have hybrid meetings. So that's what we're going under the assumption of. I'll let Dudley speak to that. Dudley, why don't you speak to that a little bit?
Well, you just start off saying hybrid is, everybody talks about hybrid, but it's easier said than done. The AV team, Sandeepa and Jack, Alex, Ces, and I met last night. We started looking at equipment. I will say, and we argue a little bit about how many people we need, but I'm going to say we need like 5 volunteers a meeting to run AV if we're going to do hybrid. In the past, it was 1 person. Prior to COVID, we had 3 people that it took, but it's going to take a few people to do this. So we need volunteers. Everybody doesn't have to be technologically savvy, but we do need a lot of help to pull off hybrid meetings. We think we can do it, but it's going to be clunky at first. We're going to make mistakes, but you guys are so forgiving. I'm sure we'll work it out. And that's our goal, is to have a true hybrid meeting where there's participation both in the room and on Zoom.
Well, we know that your executive team is working on this, and we're going to try to make sure we get it. We do want to come back as soon as we can safely. And we're trying to work it out where that even if you're on Zoom, that you can participate in with the meeting while we were having an in-person meeting. Some people are just missing the in-person, and some people would prefer to have it in Zoom because it's a lot more convenient for them. They can do it. I can see some of our members out there that I never see nothing but the top of their body. So I don't know whether or not they got their PJs on still yet or not.
We don't want you to see how much weight we gained during the pandemic.
But we'll do it one way or another. That's the update on all of that we're doing. Thank you, Ruth, for the thought for the day. That was particularly nice. I loved it. Thank you, Debo, for the business development announcement. And thank you, John, for the digital library announcement. That's wonderful work that we're doing in the Oakland community. And thank you, David, for giving us the case for why you should give to the ORE campaign. And thank you, Kathleen, for reminding us us about the excitement of the gala that's coming up. And thank you, Kathy, for introducing such an amazing speaker. Jesse, before I wrap up, do we have any bell ringers for today?
We have no bell ringers this week.
That's a first for me. I better have ring the bell for somebody. We have the bell ringers every week. Come on now, who's gonna ring the bell for somebody?
I'll prime the pump. I'll prime the pump. Somebody gave me $50 for a little thing I did for him the other day, so I'll double it and ring the bell for you.
Very good.
I'll ring the bell for you, Ces, for your indomitable spirit in trailblazing this whole year this way.
Well,
ring the bell.
Ring that bell. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been
Yes, I'm ringing it for Community Service Committee.
There we go. Now we're getting them come in. I'll ring one for the community service because they gave a great announcement there too.
What is a bell ring, President says?
A bell ring is a $100 donation to the ORE, Oakland Rotary Endowment. And every time someone rings the bell or mentions something about your business before you ring the bell, we can get a $100 donation to the Oakland Rotary Endowment. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'd like to end this meeting as we always do, and that's the way it went at the 5,335th Club meeting on April 8th, 2021 at Oakland Rotary number 3, the 3rd oldest Rotary Club in the world. Everybody remember, Rotary opens opportunities for service above self. And now this meeting is adjourned.